Today, we continue with our series on America's cities by focusing on one of its best, Tampa, Florida, led by Mayor Jane Castor. After spending 31 years in law enforcement, Castor not only made Tampa safer, but more prosperous than ever before by doing what was needed with grit and grace. From Ballard Studios in Washington, D.C., it's 13th and Park.
The hard things that are necessary, we either do it or we'll pay the price down the road.
That often is missing in politics.
We have to solve everything.
It's a nightmare.
You and I can differ, but that doesn't mean you and I cannot be friends.
I have faith in the American people.
Those are the facts.
The Illuminati, right there. Aliens could have invaded and nothing would surprise me at this point.
We went from North Korea to M&M. That's a lot, man.
What's in this tea?
Well, Mayor, great to have you on the show. I wish I were where you are right now. I'm in Washington, you're in Tampa. Not fair.
Actually, I was in Washington the last couple of days. The weather wasn't too bad, but I did get back to paradise last night.
Well, let me ask you about Tampa. A lot of people read about America's cities, and unfortunately, many cities are facing very daunting challenges, like San Francisco and Flint and St. Louis. But in a way, Tampa has an opposite set of challenges. Is what you do when things are really working and when you're having a really good role, where there's a lot of success. What kinds of priorities do you have and must you have to make sure you manage that success so that the people of Tampa can enjoy that for years to come?
Well, Adam, you just really hit on the reason that I ran for this position as mayor of the city of Tampa. I was born and raised here. I'm 65 now, and our city is going to see more change than it has certainly in my lifetime. Yeah. And so to be a part of that is an honor beyond expectation. But we have issues associated with our growth. And so you're right. There are a lot of other mayors across the country that would like to have the same problems we have.
Right.
We're developing rapidly. And so to ensure that, as I say, as mayor, hey, come build in Tampa, bring your business, bring your family, but yet it's difficult to get a permit or to get things done. So that's how we started out back in 2019, brought a group of subject matter experts together, business owners, city team members, and really crafted a strategy that we have followed through the administration. But then also those overarching focuses for this administration, really, three of them can be intertwined when you look at the rapidly escalating cost of housing. We used to be able to sell ourselves as a very affordable city. Yeah. And with the influx of people and businesses, the price of housing has really skyrocketed. And then associated with that is workforce development, making sure that as we bring those high-paying, high-skilled jobs to our community, that we have the talent to fill those positions. And we're doing that very well also. The statistic that I'm familiar with says that our local universities, University of South Florida, University of Tampa, 80% of the students outside the Tampa Bay area stay here after they graduate. Yeah. So we're doing really good on the workforce area of it. And then, of course, transportation. I often joke that mass transit in Tampa is more than two people in an SUV. And unfortunately, those solutions take a decade at least to get up and moving. And so we are far behind in that. We do believe that we have a path now with a federal program called Build America. We are expanding our streetcar, which will connect Ybor City to Channelside to Water Street to downtown all the way up to Tampa Heights. And so a number of neighborhoods that will be able to take transportation off of their plate as a cost.
You spent 31 years in the Tampa Police Department, the last 6, I think it was, as chief. Coming into office, there probably was a great expectation that you were going to really do something in terms of instilling confidence on public safety. In fact, the record shows you have, by the numbers, I think crime's down like 70%. But because you had that background, did you feel any more pressure maybe coming into the job as mayor because there was this high level of public belief that, oh my gosh, the chief's coming in?
Yeah, I don't think so. People would say, hey, have you really paid attention and stay involved with the police department? I said, no, The police department is running as a well-oiled machine. It was really other departments throughout the city that I had to focus my attention on. And so really the police department, what we put in place, the changes, organizational changes we made back in 2003, really changed the way we police in our city. And things have only gotten better. They have an incredible relationship with the community, which is the key to their success in making Tampa one of the safest cities our size in the nation. And they've actually reduced crime since 2003 by well over 80% right now. And so my hat's off to the police department. You know, running for mayor, it was certainly a benefit to have spent 31 years at the police department. As I like to say, people had the opportunity to test drive me. They knew what they were getting if they checked the box next to my name. But what I learned, the valuable lesson, was that as the chief of police, you belong to the community. So the importance of surrounding yourself with an incredibly strong team is definitely invaluable and necessary. And so I knew that coming into the position as mayor that I wouldn't have the opportunity to get down into the weeds of the day-to-day operations because I belong to the community. I'm out there at business events. I'm out there cutting ribbons, community events. And so I had to surround myself with a great team. And I would submit that our team, the current one here at the city of Tampa, is the best staff that this city has ever seen.
You at one point were a registered Republican, now a registered Democrat. But it's more important that someone in your position leads in a nonpartisan fashion, that it's not about what party you come from. Everyone's welcome at the table. Is it arguable that because you've been at different times feet in both camps, so to speak, partisan camps, that it made you more sensitive to how to maybe thread the needle and be able to represent everyone at the same time?
Well, I don't know if I would characterize it that way. I think that especially in this position, which is a nonpartisan position, I take it as a compliment when people, have to guess what party I belong to. But most people, I believe, are down the middle. They are socially to the left, but physically to the right. Those that are far right or far left, they're going to be that way. And I don't know that there's pulling people towards the middle, but I do believe that most Americans, they just want decisions that are made in the best interest of not only themselves and their families, but in the best interest of our communities, our state, and our nation.
You were a collegiate Hall of Famer in basketball and volleyball. And so the question has to be asked in what one point was being called Championship City. We had the Bucks who were winning Super Bowls, right? We were winning championships almost in the realm of baseball. Obviously, hockey has been an amazing run. What was your favorite moment, if you could recall? Like one time you said, geez, this is really cool.
Oh, I would say all of it. I mean, it is just incredible. But if pressed to pick one type of an event, it would have to be the boat parade, which I like to think we invented because it was COVID when we won our first Stanley Cup.
Right.
And so we're like, hey, let's have a boat parade. And to see the shores of our bay and our river just lined with fans was just unbelievable. And then the Bucks won, the first team to win at home. Should have won against the Rams out in LA, but we'll just leave that for another podcast. But anyway, that was an incredible event as well. That's a tradition that will remain in Tampa, and I just hope that we get to have them on a yearly basis.
I think it's time for us to share a secret, one of your secret weapons, your dog Alcadesa, who I was reading an article in the Tampa Bay Times. They were referring to lap roulette, where Alcadesa would sometimes move from lap to lap in a meeting. What does Alcadesa share with you that you take into the public arena?
I thought when I was first elected, this would be a great idea. Let's get an office dog. Great to take to events, great around the office. I tell you what, she has a job that I am vying for when I finish my term as mayor, and that she has two tasks. One is to greet people at City Hall, and the other is to take copious naps during the day. And she's very good at both. She's not much of a fan of other dogs. She loves everybody. So I take her to school events, and it's wonderful because there'll be young kids that are afraid of dogs. So I'll say, hey, I'll hold her head. You just touch her back. And next thing you know, they have their arms wrapped around her. I remember distinctly right after I adopted her from the Humane Society and brought her into one of our staff meetings, and my staff just starts laughing. And I'm thinking, I'm being serious here. I'm in charge, and I don't know why you guys are laughing. And finally, somebody goes, your dog's falling asleep. So as I talk, she's nodding off. But she is an incredible stress reliever. And I'll show you, she's doing half of her job right now, and that is taking naps.
I mean, it looks like she's sleeping, but I want you to know she's taking this all in.
What's going through her head right now is, oh my gosh, I could do this interview 10 times better than she's doing. So.
And my dog Millie as well.
Without a doubt.
Do you feel bullish kind of about the future? You're in a position where you interface with all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life, well beyond Tampa Bay.
I really, really do. We missed out on that growth spurt that some other cities across the nation saw, when you look at Charlotte and Austin. But in hindsight, I see that as somewhat of a blessing because not only do we get to learn some of the best practices from those other cities, but we also get to examine some of the mistakes that they made. And so running for this position and working to successfully grow Tampa to the potential that we all know it has is something that is in my heart. But the success would be to be able to grow Tampa into a world-class city, but still have that small town feel.
Well, I can tell you, Mayor, how proud a lot of people are of the job you've done and also how reassuring you are at times. When Hurricane Milton was threatening to come through downtown Tampa, those are the moments where you look to leaders for that proverbial shot in the arm.
Right.
I want you to know that should not be underestimated as a part of your regimen on the job because you probably don't hear from a lot of people on every subject, but I want you to know that particular night, you were there to reassure and thank you on behalf of everyone in Tampa Bay for that kind of strength at a time when it counts.
Well, thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. But I think that the credit goes to the incredible team here in the city of Tampa and really to our residents as well. We come together to celebrate, as we talked about, but we also come together to address issues. We've got that grit, but as you said before, we also do it with a little bit of grace.
Yeah, and you do it with the silent partner you have on your left, Al Cadet, so I know was very critical in the eye of the storm. Thank you so much for your time. Keep doing the job you're doing. You give all of us a lot of confidence, Mayor, and wish you all the best.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it. It really is, for me, wonderful to be able to count you as a friend.
Goes both ways.